All right, thank you everybody for joining us today. I'm Steve Grubbs, CEO of VictoryXR, and today we are talking about homeschool education. And as we all know, homeschool education is growing rapidly in the United States. I think last I looked, there were 4 million families that were educating students at home, children or others. And so it's a big part of what we do. The immersive and AI products that we provide help to deliver really advanced labs and other learning that that might not otherwise be possible. Even for schools with a lot of money, to have the space for all the labs that you need is a near impossibility. And so the work that we are doing brings labs and resources and tools that and global field trips that might not otherwise be available. And in fact, two of our guests on the call, Bogota and Delhi, are on the short list for a field trip coming up, South America and India. So we plan to include those. I'll be adding Nigeria, a field trip on colonialism. I'll record that next week out of the country. So let me introduce to you Kathleen Ouellette. Kathleen is one of our education leaders. She's a former homeschool parent and leads that division for us. I will also introduce Melissa Brent, who is our Director of Education. And Melissa works directly with our developers as they build out labs and content and curriculum to make sure that it appropriately meets the protocol. That's not the word I'm reaching for, but
the standards.
Well, no, not the standards. Anyway, there's a word that I always think sounds funny, but educators all use it. So Melissa makes sure that those things come to pass, not a business guy like me. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kathleen. And Kathleen, why don't you give us an overview of VictoryXR's education products? And then from there, Melissa, why don't you lead the questions, and we'll open up questions to anybody else on the call. So thank you. I will step away.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Appreciate the time and the lovely welcome. Yeah, my name is Kathleen Ouellette. I am a 30-plus year educator. I have worked in the public, private, charter, state, local, and homeschooling areas. I have worked primarily with special needs, and with my specialty areas are speech and language pathology, deaf and hard of hearing. I have some experience with deaf blind, and I also have reading specialty. I am certified, and yeah, that's just a little bit about me. So, but my favorite time teaching, besides being in the classroom with my multiply handicapped hearing impaired children, which I absolutely adore doing, my favorite time teaching, honestly, was with my own children. I homeschooled our 6 children for 14 years. And while my husband was deployed on various travels around the world, serving in the United States Navy as a helicopter combat search and rescue pilot. So we, I had a busy time those 14 years being home alone with the kiddos for the most part. But it was also the best and the most rewarding time of my life. And my takeaway from all of that is that given my perspective on education, given the various fields that I've worked in, given the various spaces that I've worked in, I can honestly say that the one thing that pulled me away from retirement is virtual reality. And I say that with all sincerity, not because I'm a salesperson, because I'm really not. I am just a spokesperson for those that want to learn how to love learning again. I am a huge advocate for children of all types, all ages, I believe we're all children. So I'm still young at heart, and I feel like we never stop learning. And in order to never stop learning, we really need to have some kind of fire, some kind of curiosity within each and every one of us to want to learn more. And loving to learn is ideal when you're younger, because I think it sticks with you longer. Um, Unfortunately, in the education system, the current way that it is, there are a lot of individuals out there that struggle with that love of learning because their voices aren't able to be expressed and heard. Their curiosities aren't able to be explored at the depth, in the level that they want to or that they need to. And I think with the incorporation of virtual reality, we can help change that, especially at VictoryXR, because our products speak to a child of any age, a person's individual quest for knowledge in such unique ways. Our simulations, first of all, are ideal for equitable, everybody having access to the exact same equipment, no matter if you are in a rural Mississippi area, or if you're in Kenya, or if you are in Nigeria, or if you are in Canada or remote Alaska, or if you're in Maryland, in Annapolis, Maryland. It really, anybody, anywhere can have equal access to the same type of equipment in virtual reality, because it's offered for you, it's supplied for you within our simulations. And I love that about virtual reality and about VictoryXR specifically. Students can go in and they'll have the exact same equipment. And not only that, but it's also sustainable. You can do it again and again and again. You can find your own success. Students can define what their success is for themselves, meeting their individual needs. Maybe getting from one step to the next is what is on that student's IEP. Maybe fulfilling the entire thing is exactly what that student needs to meet educational standards for that homeschooling space or that educational space that they're working in. But either way, you've got students that are able to repeat things. So it's equitable, it's sustainable, and it's rewarding, because students will find success in some way or another in our simulations. All of that is available to them because they can go in and they can actually, when I say simulations, I want to define that a little bit for some. Some may not realize that when you go into virtual reality, you can be doing various things, and you'll pick up a flask and you'll pick up a container of liquid, but the liquid won't pour. It won't do anything. The flask sits there and you can actually suspend it in midair for the most part. But in our simulations, we create them to have physics involved. So and parameters around those objects so that they're doing something and that they react with one another. So you have a flask in front of you and you've got a chemical over here and a chemical over there, and you're going to pour that chemical into that flask and you're going to physically see a reaction. Then you're going to be able to read the directions and figure out, oh, that's what that reaction is, or oh, wow, this did that. Okay, you're going to make note of that. And you're going to understand whatever it is that you were being asked to do, tasked to do in that situation, because you've experienced it. You've involved not only your mind, your reading ability, or your listening ability, depending upon whether there's an instructor in there with you or whether you're doing this on your own asynchronously. And that's another great thing about VXR Labs, is that you can do either, you can access this information either way, asynchronously or synchronously. So students will be able to go in there, learn this knowledge, understand it, and then they're using their bodies to learn with as well. And anytime we use our bodies, our memory is our ability to remember things is heightened. So once that memory then is helped to be set into place longer and faster, that student then has that knowledge to build further knowledge on top of. And that just strengthens their understanding of the world around them, the subject at hand, the task at hand, whatever it may be. But that is the power of our simulations in VXR labs. Then we also offer, we have as Steve referred to, our global traveler. So we have a global traveler, and it can be either a room, which you can go to and you can see our 2D content, which is highly educational and is NGSS aligned. And they're wonderful videos for anybody to utilize to strengthen and support any curriculum that you're using on your own. And, or if you're unschooling, anything that the students are interested in. And then they also can change that room into a 360 room, but we also have an individual room that is a 360 bubble room. And it is fantastic. You go into this beautiful space and you pull up one of our 360 videos and you can experience that space in the world, that place in the world, understand it more because you're there, but you're not there by yourself. You're there with an educator. So you are there we have a tour guide that leads you on this journey to understanding a little bit about the place that this film that you're viewing is taking place. Whether it's teaching you about the Redlands, or whether it's teaching you about Rocky Mountain Formation, or whether it's teaching you about Greece or Egypt, the Sphinxes. It's just fantastic for students to be able to travel the world without the cost and expense and hazards and complications of leaving the country and then getting back in, or when students, especially those that are perhaps hospital homebound students that don't have the opportunity to travel or can't travel, but they want to see areas of the world, think of putting them in the headset and exposing them to this wonderful opportunity to see things that they may never get the opportunity to see, or that they're challenged to see, but they want to be able to do what their classmates were doing. Maybe they're facing a temporary challenge. That's another aspect of our product as well. And I find it extremely valuable to a lot of different platforms and a lot of different age levels. And then, so we have our simulations, we have our global traveler, and then we also have our creator spaces. And our creator spaces are fantastic because students can go in there and you can have an educator go in with you. You can have a project that you need to do on your own. So you can go in there on your own and you can bring in what we call spawnables, and which are 3D objects that you can then interact with and use in that space. The great thing about VictoryXR is that we don't create just any old spawnables though. Like, yeah, we do have chairs, we'll have a house, we have tables, and things like that. But we also have objects like a box that you can pick up and you can throw, and you can throw it against another box that you can pick up and throw, and you can throw them against each other and see what happens. And you can make them bigger and you can make them smaller, and you can build a wall that's flat, or you can build a pyramid. And then when you take a little box and you make it really big and you throw it against a small pyramid, what is it going to do to that? Or if you take these boxes that are small in size and then you make them all really large, and then you build your pyramid, and then you take a small box and you throw it against it, what is that reaction? That's the beauty of not having things broken at your house. That is really the key here to being able to go into VR and just explore and have fun and it's just a wonderful opportunity for students to be able to get out there and find their curiosity themselves and go for it. Just venture out and explore different things, look at different things, create different things. Maybe you're a student that is struggling to understand a concept about a literary piece. Maybe you're reading Strawberry Girl and you don't really relate to the struggles that they would have had back then on the prairie and living off the land. Maybe you're reading Lord of Thunder, Hear My Cry, and you don't really understand the struggles that those individuals faced at that point in time in our history. Or maybe you're learning about civil rights and you want to learn and you want to understand more. You really want to be able to relate to things. And that is key with a lot of students these days. A lot of students want to be able to relate to topics that they're learning about. They're not this generation of today that's learning, and today's popular learners today. They really want to be able to relate to things. They want to be able to understand what it is that they're learning and why. They just don't want to be lectured to all the time. They want to know why they're learning this and why is it important to them. A lot of students today have this bubble around them. They want to know why. Why me? Why this? Why now? Why can't this be easier? Why do I have to learn this? How is this going to help me in the future? How is this going to help me now? And I think allowing students the opportunity to relate to things, to relate to topics that happened in the past, will help them understand and perhaps frame out the future a little bit better. Maybe they're going to become politicians. Maybe they're going to become lawyers. We never really quite know. So I think or social workers of some kind, or teachers, educators, or child advocates. However, whatever they choose to do in life, it's always nice to be able to look from a different perspective at things. And I think with virtual reality, you can definitely do that. You can walk across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. You can go into our Journey to Civil Rights Museum and explore and understand and listen. You can go to a very touching simulation that we offer, experience that we offer, that is called La Amistad, which is a slave ship. There is a warning sign on it, and there's a warning sign on it for a reason. But if your students are old enough and are ready enough and have been taught about what it is that they're going to be encountering when they venture into this experience, then I think it's impactful. And I think it's going to dive deep into their understanding, dive deeper into our history, their history, not only of the United States, but of the world. I mean, the United States isn't the only place where slavery occurred or is occurring. So I think that's huge. I think that's huge. And that's a huge advantage that virtual reality can bring to students to help them relate and understand the topics. And one of our last things, we also have one of our special creator spaces is our sandbox. Our sandbox is just fantastic. It is the cream of the crowd creator space. You go into this location and you can change the floor. You can make it invisible. You can bring in all of the constellations. You can turn it on a toggle switch to see the outline of where that constellation is in the world. But you can see all of the visible nighttime stars all the way around you. Or you can turn it into grass and create those spaces to relate to those pieces of literature that I was speaking about. Go in and recreate a log cabin. Go in and explore and build walls and set up a scene. Maybe you're a theater student. Maybe you're interested in building set designs. Any of those things are possible. in VR, and you can do it without having the cost and expense um, of building things before you really know what they're going to look like in real life. So
what
great.
about stuff that we don't have pre-made off the shelf? Like if they wanted something to supplement our existing math content, what could they use?
So nothing that's pre-existing.
Right. Like if they wanted to go in and say, like, I love math, that's what I'm super into right now, and I need something to supplement the math content that we're already teaching in real life and to supplement the math content that we already have, what could they use to drive that?
Well, that's the last thing that we offer. And it's the newest thing that we offer. And I really feel like it is going to have a huge impact on learning, not only to support the learners, but it also will support the educators. And that is our AI. So our AI, you can build teaching assistants, you can build a lecturer, you can build a how-to video, you can build you can do a poem, recite, create a poem and then present it, and present a few ideas behind the poem. Maybe you want to do, maybe you want to talk about math. Maybe you do want to help a student understand Pythagorean theorem, or maybe you want to help them understand diameters or different polygons, or whatever the case might be. A student can go in and utilize, a teacher can go in and utilize our AI in order to create a lesson for that student to learn from. So they can go in, pick an avatar, pick a voice, pick a location where that avatar is going to deliver this lesson in from, and then they'll be able to, students can go in whenever they want to, 24/7. They'll be able to go in and access that lesson. So if they missed something in a live lesson that was presented, and the educator wants to go in and build a lesson around something that they know they present every single semester, or they have to repeat again and again and again, they can go in and they can build a lesson around that. So then the student can go in on off hours and have access to that information whenever they need it, when they're studying, when they're preparing for a test. And then they can ask that questions as well. You can also build in pictures behind you with this tutor. And you can also ask questions as far as true false quizzes, multiple choice. And students can ask the AI questions, and the AI will answer based upon the information that it has received in this lesson, the information that the professor has put into this lesson. They can also do it. They can also do one themselves. They can also create something themselves. Students can use this as a project-based learning experience. You can use VR, any of our creator spaces, as one as well. You can go in and collaborate, cooperate with other students. You can have a teacher in there or not. Go in there, learn together, have an assignment. But the AI allows you to present. So you can pick an avatar, a student can pick a voice, can pick the space that they want their avatar to present in. And then if they've had a research project that they've been working so hard on, and then perhaps they've built something in real time on that, or maybe they've created a layout in VR and they wanted to show a picture of that layout on the screen behind them, and then talk through their process, talk through the research that they've done. Maybe they're just in love with studying Hamilton or studying Thomas Jefferson, and they want to present a project on one of those characters based upon multiple biographies that they've read. They can do that. They can do a presentation for their class, and then they can host it within their organization. And then students can access that anytime. They don't have to be there in person to access that. You can present in person. You can use that, and that's another way to use our product too. So it varies how you use our product. I get the number one question I'm asked is, how am I going to use this for homeschooling family? How am I going to use this for homeschooling purposes? There's no one right way or wrong way to utilize VXR Labs for homeschooling. There's so many ways to use this, either in the classroom or from a home-based education or online learning. There's so many ways. The only limitation is going to be your own creativity. So you have to think outside the box and then go into headset and just explore. Just do. I think that's the key. That's the key to a successful homeschooling, utilizing virtual reality.
I love it. Do we have any questions before we close it down? All right. Kathleen, eloquent, glorious to behold. Thank you so much. We really enjoyed it, and I cannot wait for everyone to... Oh, Benji, did you have a question?
Sorry. Hey, yeah, sorry about that.
Okay.
I rocked up a couple of minutes later, and yeah, I've been listening. It's very interesting. Probably, I think it possibly could be something that I'm after. I'm looking at homeschooling my two boys starting next year, and I'm hoping that this VR can really we can incorporate that VR into their learning. I
Yes.
saw a couple of videos from your website there, and it looks very interesting. So definitely wouldn't mind giving it a go for sure.
Awesome.
Good.
Well, Benji, you can reach out to Kathleen at VictoryXR.com, and she'll send you over a demo license. You can go on in and play.
Sure, sounds great. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, cool. Thank you so much, everybody, and we'll catch you next webinar.
Thank you.